Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel today. I've already got some onions off and running for the year already, as you've seen in previous videos and some of the posts that I put on the community posts. But I'm going to sow my second sowings of onions tonight, and I'm going to be sowing them into these little cell trays that you see right here, and they're really quite small in terms of the size of each cell, but they are quite tall as well, so they get things off to a nice start. And I'm going to try sowing some onions into these little cells that you see right here, and I see a lot of people doing this and using these particular cell trays, and these particular cell trays are something that I've been wanting to get a hold of for a while, and I've managed to get my hands on some, and I do have quite a lot of them. I was gifted them by someone, and there's quite a number of them right here to get started with. So I'm going to sow some onions into these tonight, as I say, and I'm going to bring over some compost right here, and this is some clover compost, and I'm just going to put it through this riddle here and get the larger bits of material out of the compost, and then I'll be able to sow some of these onions into the cells. And the onions that I'm going to sow are in these two packets right here, and they are some more common sweet red onions, and also some density for long storing onions, and both these varieties are from real seed. And if I just change the angle of the light there a little bit so you can see better, that is the packet right there. So there's some density for long storing onions, and also the common sweet red as well. So I'm going to just riddle this soil very quickly with you now. Like so. And then I'll be able to get these cells filled up to the top. So I'll bring over one of these cells right here. And there we go. And I'm just going to fill them right to the top. Like so. And then I'm just going to press down the soil just a little bit and give it a bit of a consolidation there with my fingertip. And then I'm going to bring over the first lot of seeds, and this is the common sweet red. If I just let that focus, you'll see that it is the common sweet red that I'm going to do. So there we go. And I'm just going to put a small pinch in each of the cells, round about 5 to 7 seeds, and I'm just going to count them out so I can get 5 to 7, because I don't want to put too many in there, but just a small little pinch in each of the cells, like so. And these I've been looking at for a while, and I see a lot of people using them. And when it comes to moving the onions on, because I like to grow them until they're the size of the thickness of a pencil, and at that point we're into spring, and then I can start planting out my onions that I'm going to grow for the year. So there's a small pinch in each one of those cells right there. And then I'm just going to simply cover over the top of the seeds with a little bit more compost there. And then I'm just going to give it a little bit of a water with this spray gun right here. So I'll just give the compost a nice spray there and get them nicely hydrated. And that's the first tray off and running. So that's some common sweet red. And when I've finished sowing these seeds tonight, I'm going to put these cells into a tray of water and just fill it up so there's a inch of water or so in the bottom of the tray that I put them into, and that'll just allow a little bit more water to soak up at the base, and that'll be this tray nicely hydrated, ready for the seeds to germinate. So that's the first cell tray right there. And the second one, I'm just going to do exactly the same thing. Just going to bring over a little bit more compost there, and we'll sow some more common sweet red. And when I'm done with this, I'm going to put the cells themselves into an actual grow tray that you would sow seeds into, and then I'll put a poly lid over the top and hold in a nice amount of warmth and a nice amount of moisture, and that'll get the seeds off to a nice start. And I'm going to germinate these indoors to begin with, and as soon as germination has occurred, then I'll move them on to the greenhouse and they can grow on for the remainder of February and into early spring and beyond. And I'll come back and I'll do an additional video and show you what it is I'm going to do next. But for now, the first thing is to sow some seeds. So again, I'm just going to sow these common sweet red and just make a nice indentation with my finger right there, like so. And then I'll bring over some more of the common sweet red onions, and I'll sow a small pinch in each of the cells again. Not too many, like I say, just aim for sowing around about 5. And if you have to thin them out when germination happens, then that can be done when it needs to be done. But I'm just going to put a small pinch in each of the cells, and that'll be them now sown as well. So again, just going to cover over the top of these just sown seeds, like so. And then I'm going to again just give them a nice spray there, just so it's nice and gentle on the seeds and it doesn't dislodge them at all. So that's some of the common sweet red onions sown tonight, which is lovely. So I'll just put them to the left hand side there, so when I come to make a label up, I know which ones are which. So that's the common sweet red in those 2 cells or cell trays right there. And the next thing to do is just a bit more compost for the other 2 cells. So again, just going to bring over some compost here, just give it a nice riddle there. So again, just going to fill up one of these cells right here. and bring over another one. So that'll be 2 of each. And I'll put a picture on the community posts of the sowings that I've done tonight, because chances are I might just do maybe 1 more tray of each, but I don't want to do too many. I just want you to see what it is that I'm doing and what I'm sowing tonight. So again, just fill that up nicely, make sure it's nicely to the top there, and then just press down a little bit in each of the cells right there. Bring over the other one and do exactly the same. So there we go. And now I'm just going to bring over the density 4 long storing onions. Both these are from Real Seed, which is a company I like to use. And these density 4 are something new that I'm trying. So this is going to be a new variety of onions for us to have a go of and see how they get on. So there's another small pinch in each of the cells right there, which is lovely. And then I'm just going to cover over the top with a bit more compost. Give them a little bit of a spray. And then I'm going to come on to the last one right here. So again, just going to make sure that I've got the little divots the way I want them. So there we go. And then I'm just going to do exactly the same as before, just put a small pinch in each of the cells, like so. Cool. Maybe just one more in there because there wasn't quite enough in that little cell there. So there we go. And again, just get some of this nice riddle compost and just broadcast it over the top. Just a little bit more soil there in the corner. And that's, again, ready to be just sprayed off. And there we go. So that's 2 trays of common sweet red and 2 trays of density 4 long storing onions set away into some cell trays tonight. So that's something new that I'm trying, and some new trays that I've got a hold of, and a new way for us to sow some onions for growing this year. So the last thing to do is just to put a little label in each of the 4 cell trays there, and then I will put them into a situation where they've got a little bit of a poly lid over the top, just to help to speed up the germination, and they'll be put on a sunny windowsill, and then when they're up they'll be moved on into the greenhouse and grown on into the spring. Thanks for joining us tonight, everyone. Just move that to the centre there so you can see all 4 trays together. And I'll bid you farewell at that point, folks. I'll put a picture on the community posts of these cell trays in the vicinity of the house and with a little poly lid over the top, and you can go and have a look at that if you choose to. Take it easy, guys. It's great to talk to you. Catch you again on the next one. Bye. Have a lovely day.